Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. I very much appreciate you. Orlando Ruiz Jr. coming at you from my corner, as I usually do. Seeing how it wouldn't look right me sitting over there by the washer and dryer on the other side of the garage. Kind of noisy outside today. It's a nice day today, but gonna push on through this either way, because that's what we do. My top 10 most anticipated movies of 2022. Number 10, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Big fan of these fun comic book movies. I loved Jason Momoa in the part of Aquaman in Zack Snyder's Justice League, as well as James Wan's first Aquaman film. Though the movie did veer into the campy at times, I had a lot of fun with it. I think the effects were awesome. I love the 80s synth type music score at times. The brother story gave me Black Panther vibes, which didn't hurt the film. And, not that this is on par with that, but, overall, just a kind of a fun, loud popcorn movie, the kind we used to go watch all the time in the 90s, big summer fun movies, even though it came out in December. So, but it has that vibe. It has that fun adventure fantasy popcorn thing going for it. It had, sharks with laser beams at one point. I think Dr. Evil would have been very proud. And at one point we see an octopus playing the drums. If the second movie decides to go that far out like the first one, I'm not going to get mad, because they already established this to be sort of a, off the wall, zany comic book world. The color palette, the larger than life, over the top characters, Ocean Master and Black Manta really hammed it up in the best way possible as far as I'm concerned. So, anything James Wan does, I'm going to be there for. So Aquaman 2 definitely has my attention. My number 9. There's a film a lot of people may not know about, but seeing as how I try to keep my ear close to the grindstone as it is, Samaritan, starring Sylvester Stallone. This is an action film, a superhero film about a guy who dropped out of the superhero business, I guess, years ago, went AWOL, and is discovered by a young kid who, I guess, they become friends and have some kind of relationship throughout, an adventure, maybe. It sounds like something that is just right for Stallone, considering he is getting up there in years and playing this kind of down and out superhero who has stepped away from the superhero life. It feels like a nice fit for him, and I like seeing him dabble in the superhero stuff every now and then. It was cool seeing him in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I understand he's coming back in the third film. It was really nice having him be a part of the Suicide Squad. And, even as far back as 1995, I was there in the theater for Judge Dredd and had a blast watching that in the theater. So, anytime Stallone decides to come out with something that's going to be in the theaters, whether it's Creed or Rambo or The Expendables or whatever, I'm usually going to be there, because I haven't missed any Stallone movie in the theaters since 1993, since Cliffhanger. Though I did not check out Spy Kids 3D. I'm just not into those, sorry. By the time those started coming out, I was watching other things, so yeah, not a big Spy Kids guy. But Samaritan, Sylvester Stallone, has a little gritty comic book thing going for it. I'm definitely gonna check this one out. So my number 8. I'm a big Halloween fan. Love all the movies. Well, no, sorry. Don't love all the movies. I love watching them, but I don't love all the movies as far as everyone. There's 2 I can definitely do without for sure. But, I enjoyed the last 2. And, of course, Halloween Kills did go a little too far with a certain line that was repeated once too many times by multiple characters that was just completely unnecessary. Hopefully they tone that down in this final chapter, but I just want to see how they cap off the trilogy. and I have faith in David Gordon Green. As a filmmaker, I know that his forte is usually comedy, but he surprised me with Halloween's 2018. For the most part, I did enjoy it, so I am looking forward to seeing how the whole thing is going to be closed and what kind of a farewell they're going to give to the Laurie Strode character, Jamie. If only, that would be cool. So yeah, my number, 7? Yeah, that was number 8. Number 7, Black Adam. Black Adam, I don't know anything about the character. Haven't read a comic, but that first trailer really got me curious. It looks super badass. For the most part, Dwayne Johnson's movies, I can sort of take most of them and enjoy them. Some of them I could do without. Not a big fan of all of his work, but he does have some good movies every now and then, so I will be there for Black Adam. I have a lot of faith in just his enthusiasm for the part. I don't think that he's gonna drop the ball with this, seeing how passionate he has been about this character for the past 10 years. This movie is long overdue, so any time a superhero finally gets brought to the screen for the first time, I think it's always a special thing. Whether it was Wonder Woman or Black Panther or the Guardians of the Galaxy, it's always a treat to see a character finally get a big screen interpretation. So I'll be there for Black Adam. It's a loud plane. Go ahead, keep laughing, kids. I hope that's a funny joke. Number 6, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That first Spider-Verse movie is very special. Not only was it entertaining as hell, and not only did it surprise me because, given it was an animated film, it really could have just been another throwaway movie like many animated superhero movies are. But the filmmakers, the writers of the film put so much thought, so much love and care into every detail, from the animation to the character development of Miles Morales. It was such an engaging story, and I think many people will want to see how this continues for Miles Morales. And I'm sure the hope is that one day we will get to see this character in live action, and it's going to happen eventually. And now, given with the success of that first Spider-Verse film, because it broke the barriers of what we could do with as far as the multiverse go, and thanks to what Marvel is doing on the television front with WandaVision and Loki, the idea of the concept of the multiverse, it gets my juices flowing, gets me really excited. I definitely get the warm and fuzzies just thinking about it. And we wouldn't have Spider-Man No Way Home if it wasn't for the success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I will be there for that opening weekend. Very much looking forward to it. That first movie was just so much fun to witness on a big screen. So, that animation was killer. So yeah, I'll be there. Number 5, I'm a big 80s child, so should be no surprise to people. Top Gun Maverick. Just those first couple trailers looked insane. And Tom Cruise is really going to be flying some of these jets, much like he did in the original film at times. Not for every scene, I'm sure, but I understand he did have to get behind the cockpit in real life, because this is a real hands-on guy. He's crazy. He'll practically almost kill himself for a movie. So, that right there earns my respect and my movie ticket. I'm a big fan of a lot of his early stuff, Risky Business, Legend, Born on the 4th of July, that he's terrific in that. Jerry Maguire, Interview with a Vampire, Magnolia, the list goes on and on. The guy is great. So, Maverick was one of those parts that is iconic. And Top Gun is one of the 1980s movies that people just always want to revisit because it's just so much fun and doesn't take itself seriously, though at times will still manage to uh, pull on the uh, pull on the heartstrings every now and then, especially in the third act when the shit gets real. So I'm not going to spoil that original film, but maybe before Top Gun Maverick does uh, finally come out, I think I will do a review on the original and discuss it with all its uh, charm and flaws and just overall cheesy 80s fun summer action movie. The aerial sequences in that first film are something that I enjoy every single time. So just to imagine what they're gonna do with that kind of sequence, those type of sequences in a modern day, 2020, with the kind of technology that they have now. These are going to be IMAX cameras that they use for a lot of these aerial sequences. So it's going to be breathtaking. Um, so yeah, hopefully they throw a little Kenny Loggins in there, a little danger zone for fans of the original, and I will be there for Top Gun Maverick. I'm a sucker for nostalgia, like a lot of people. So yes, that's my number 5. Number 4, big fan of the MCU. So Thor: Love and Thunder. I will be there to see Kristen Bale as a crazy go nuts villain. Hopefully, him and Chris Hemsworth, Kristen Bale, Chris and Chris. Hopefully, Chris Hemsworth and him have plenty of scenes together, and we get to see lots of back and forth and maybe a nice little fisticuffs. That'd be cool. But I'm excited to see just the characters come back. Natalie Portman. It'll be nice to see her again as Jane Foster, and the idea of Lady Thor. They're not keeping that a secret, but which is too bad. But I guess these days it's hard for them to keep everything under wraps. But even though knowing that's coming, I'm still excited. And Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit was such a great film. He's really surprised me every time I watched something, whether it was Ragnarok or just any of his small indie films. Just the guy has a great storytelling sensibility and knows how to entertain you with the simplest of character, just interactions, and the most witty dialogue. And the guy definitely knows where to put the camera and give you just a visual feast for the eyes. That Ragnarok film is a delight every time I rewatch it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do again with the Thor character. And the thought of Christian Bale just coming back to comic book genre, this time as a villain in a Marvel movie, yeah, it's one of the reasons why we come back to the movies over and over again, to see our favorite actors just do their thing and wear crazy costumes and lose themselves for a couple hours. It's comfort, it's comfort for the soul. So yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. I will be there to witness all your MCU glory, because these Thor movies are getting better and better, and they keep putting this character through the ringer. The Russo brothers did that to Thor to the point where they made sure that he gained plenty of weight so that you wouldn't hardly recognize him. And I'm sure that those that had an issue with that in Endgame might feel okay, everything's back to normal. The Thor that they're showing in the set photos and stuff doesn't look like they're going with that version. So hopefully all those people are pleased. But if it was Fat Thor, I wouldn't care. Thor is Thor. Whether he was Fat Thor, Thor the Dark World. I'm not a Thor the Dark World hater. I actually defend that movie. So one of these days might get into that. That'll be a fun discussion. But yeah, gonna be there for Love and Thunder for sure. Number 3, I cannot be more excited for the return, of Michael Keaton in The Flash. And I know it's a Flash movie, and I should be more excited to see The Flash finally get his own movie. I'll be honest. Ezra Miller, he's not my favorite as far as people go, but he did a good job in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'll give him that. I wasn't a big fan of his portrayal of the character in the 2017 cut, but the way he was portrayed in Zack Snyder's movie was a step up. So I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful. Hopefully he can pull it off. But overall, the idea of seeing Ben Affleck come back, even if it is going to be for one last time, and the idea of having, the OG Batman, the first modern day Batman, which was the first time we ever got to see that black suit. It was a very special thing back in '89. So yes, I will be there for the Flash. And this is the kind of stuff I live for, really. And I'm just glad that I'm still alive. I know it's a shallow thing to say. You think, yeah, I should be. I should probably put I guess kids' birthdays and stuff like that a little above that on the list of life events. But this is something that as a kid I have been waiting for my whole life, ever since it was announced that Schumacher was going to step in for Burton back in '93, '94, before Batman Forever happened. And I wasn't a Schumacher hater. I had a lot of fun with those early with those first four films. Even when Batman and Robin came out, I was what, like 13, 12, 13 at the time. So even though I was disappointed when it came out, because I walked out of the theater thinking, yeah, that just didn't feel like the last one or the previous two at all. We're way off course. I'm a big fan of Batman '66, so I understood what they were going for. And all the other Batmans that came out after Keaton, I liked them all. I like Christian Bale. Ben Affleck is awesome in the part, but Keaton for me will always be Batman. So of course Adam West is Adam West. You can't ever discount him. But Keaton was my generation's Batman, and The Flash definitely is a movie that I'm very, very excited for. I know that it's going to be a fun ride, given we have Andy Muschietti at the helm. I enjoyed his It films very much, especially the second one, which a lot of people like to crap on. But I enjoyed it either way. I enjoyed the first one and the second one. And I know I'm going to like this movie because the guy can definitely tell us a great story and give you a lot of fun scenes with a lot of great character interactions in between. And I'm curious to see how he's going to handle an action film. The idea of possibly getting the '89 Gotham City from the Burton films back in this, back on the big screen in 2022 in these times. It's something I never ever thought would ever happen. So this is a dream come true for a lot of people, not just me. And I'm going to be grinning from ear to ear from the moment I walk into that theater, knowing that I'm about to sit down and watch this film. So I am so there for this movie, and I just hope it's good. That's all I can say. I just hope it's good. Hopefully, it doesn't fall flat on its face, considering it's going for a lot in just one movie with all these characters. So hopefully, it's all well balanced, and Andy Muschietti pulls it off. So yeah, it's my number 3. My number 2 is a film that a lot of people might not be aware is coming out this year, but it's coming out. Creed 3. I love the first Creed. I like the second one very much. Love Rocky. I like all the movies. I know people like to hate on Rocky 5. I'm a Rocky 5 defender. And, I very much loved the Rocky versus Drago, Rocky 4 director's cut that came out just recently. So I'm there for these movies. And when Creed comes out in a movie, I will be there, front row, cheering them on. These movies are always so much fun to watch in the theater. They sometimes can get to sort of feeling like a concert kind of experience, especially when you get to the fight scenes. If it's a packed room on theater on opening night, and if the crowd really gets into it, the fight scenes, the audience really seems to respond, and it can be, it feels like you're participating in an event at times, like you're in like it's a real fight almost, like it's some kind of a Fathom Events pay-per-view thing at times. I remember watching Rocky Balboa in the theater with a packed theater audience, and what a great time that was, especially once we got to the fight, considering the way it was shot, the way Stallone shot it like a actual pay-per-view event with the HD cameras at the time. And, you know, it's kind of sad knowing that, you know, no more Sly. He decided to bow out, but I respect it. He decided to make an intelligent decision. It's always good to bow out gracefully and to know when to step aside. And the man obviously finally realized, okay, this Michael B. Jordan dude can carry his own film. He's got this, and he's great as Adonis Creed. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he can do with Creed 3. I understand he decided to direct it, so, you know, hopefully he pulls it off. You know, Stallone managed to do it with Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and Rocky 4, and Rocky Balboa. So hopefully he had some nice tips for Michael B. So yeah, Creed 3, as long as it keeps up the same sort of formula that they got going, or if it changes it up, that'll be a pleasant surprise either way. But, you know, as long as Michael B. Jordan does his thing and we get a nice solid performance by him, and we get Tessa Thompson coming back, who is also great in her part, and as long as the villain is someone that is exciting to see our protagonist go at it with, then this movie should be a fun time, no doubt about it. So yeah, Creed 3, my number 2 all the way. But number 1, without question, Matt Reeves' The Batman. I am so hyped for this movie. Batman is my favorite superhero, always has been. As a kid, Batman and Superman were always sort of fighting for that top spot because the Christopher Reeves Superman films were my very first exposure to the comic book world, comic book, anything. Before I picked up a comic book movie, a comic book, as far as an actual, like one from the stands at 7-Eleven back in the day. It was these films. It was the early Richard Donner Superman movies that introduced me to that world. And then Batman came out, the '89 film. But you know, I was a fan of the TV show. So the Adam West show and the Christopher Reeve movies, that was all I knew as far as comic book movies and superhero movies. And, well, that's not true. I did watch the Incredible Hulk from time to time. The Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk, Bill Bixby show, great show. So yeah, that was everything. But Batman was my favorite back then, still is, even with all the great MCU movies that have come since then. I love Blade, I love X-Men, the Guardians are great, and, you know, Thor, Iron Man, I love all that stuff. But ever since I was a kid, you know, Batman has always held that spot in my heart, just because that '89 film was one of the best times in my life. I always think of that very fondly, and it's really the movie experience that I chase whenever I think about great movie experiences. So I've been there for every Batman movie ever since then, from '89 all the way to the most recent one, which would be, I guess, his appearance in the 2017 Justice League, regrettably. So yeah, I cannot miss this, and I don't care if it's, you know, Robert Pattinson. I don't care anymore. I have seen his work in The Lighthouse. I know he's a great actor, and I'm excited to see where they take this. I know Matt Reeves is going to knock it out of the park just based on what I've seen in the trailers, and I really hope I'm not eating these words later on, but I don't see how it can be bad. It's 3 hours long, which means there's got to be a lot of meat on this bone. So yeah, I'm super excited. It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be a little edgy, a little scary. It's supposed to have David Fincher 7 vibes. So hell yeah, I'm so there for this film. The trailers look awesome, and it's Batman. You know, I love the Christopher Nolan films, but this really looks like this may top the best, which people consider The Dark Knight to be. Personally, for me, my favorite Batman films are the Tim Burton films. Even though the Christopher Nolan movies are, on a technical standpoint and maybe a storytelling standpoint, people can consider them to be superior, and I completely understand and respect that point of view, but they don't capture the comic book side of the character. They go for that gritty, realistic take that at the time was, great for that time. But for 89 and 92, Batman Returns, that was just perfect as far as the style, the vibe. Tim Burton's sensibility was perfect for the character in that world, in my opinion. And the fact that he never got to do more Batman films always sort of felt like, something that should have been remedied. But, who knows? Now that we got Keaton coming back in The Flash, Batman Beyond may be on the horizon. But until then, Robert Pattinson's Batman is definitely going to hold me over because it looks awesome. And I don't mind there being more than one Batman. Let them all come out. Let's have some Robert Pattinson. Let's have some Batfleck on HBO Max. That would be killer to see his interpretation brought back to the screen. Even if it's him versus Deathstroke, if they brought back that idea of the script he wanted to make, I'm so there for that. I just love this character. I'm down for whatever iteration they want to give us. Whether it's Keaton, whether it's Bale, whether it's, the Batfleck, just give it to me. I want my Batman. I want it in all its glory. And just make him gritty, make him dark, and make him kick some ass. I will show up every time. So yeah, that's my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2022. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry for all the long jabbering, but whoa, at 27 minutes, this is going to be probably one of my longest. So thanks for hanging out with me as long as you did, those of you that decided to. And, those of you that just wanted to skip to the end, I don't care. I do the same thing when I watch other people's stuff. So appreciate you. Thank you very much. Like if you do. If not, all good. Comment. If you're new to the channel, hit that bell, subscribe, share. Always appreciate all of the support. And thank you to the few that like to hang out with me for a little bit. I appreciate it. So thank you very much, and until next time. God bless.